All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive,
It's great to be here.
where we, as always, take your sources and, yeah, we kind of just dig in.
Yeah, we do a deep dive, right?
That's right. This is a deep dive, and today we're looking at this document called called Two Britain.
Interesting title.
It is an interesting title. I don't actually know what it means,
Me neither.
but that's okay, because what we're really interested in is what's inside this document.
Absolutely. And it's all about, this really timely topic of raising kids to be critical thinkers.
It's like everybody wants that, right? Like, who doesn't want their kid to be, questioning the world, analyzing things, forming their own opinions?
Right? It's like the holy grail of parenting.
Yeah, and this document, Ton Compound's kind of lays out this really interesting approach.
Yeah. And one of the things that struck me right away is that it's not just about, academics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not like, pushing kids to get straight A's or be like little geniuses.
So it's not just about raising, little Einsteins.
Exactly.
So what is it about then?
It's really about, fostering well-rounded individuals, and it all starts with this foundation of self-awareness and empathy.
Okay, so before we even get to analyzing the world outside, we need to kind of understand ourselves.
Exactly.
That makes sense. But what does Tom Conneback actually say about that?
Well, they use this really great analogy. They compare self-awareness to a house's foundation.
Okay.
There's actually a quote here that I jotted down. It says, "Just as a house cannot stand without a strong base, critical thinking cannot develop without a solid understanding of one's own emotions and motivations."
Oh, wow. So it's really that, being in touch with your own feelings, understanding why you do the things you do, that's like the first brick you lay
Absolutely.
to build that world where kids can actually think critically.
It's like emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
being able to recognize and manage your emotions.
Okay, so G-Sound code, the plexus and tall. Saying that's like step one, but
Yeah.
how do we actually, help kids do that?
Well, they suggest a really practical exercise. It's something that adults can benefit from as well.
Oh,
A
yeah.
feelings journal.
A feelings journal.
Yeah.
Okay.
The idea is, by regularly naming and reflecting on their emotions, children develop a stronger sense of self-awareness.
I'll admit, I'm more of a push it down and ignore it kind of person.
Sure.
But you're saying this is actually helpful for critical thinking.
Yeah, it's all connect. It's
Yeah.
Brooke and Partners argues that if we're overwhelmed by our own feelings, we can't clearly assess information or other people's viewpoints. It's like trying to solve a math problem when you're, panicked about a test.
Right.
Your brain's not at its best.
Yeah, you're not really thinking clearly.
Well, exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection here.
Yeah.
So, building on that foundation of empathy, Dina Anton also highlights reading as a key skill.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just about reading a lot. Right?
It's not about, speed reading or anything like that. It's really about turning reading into an active dialogue.
Okay.
They use this phrase, wrestling with the text.
Wrestling with the text.
Yeah, encouraging kids to ask questions.
Oh, wow.
Challenge assumptions, even argue with the author.
That's kind of cool. I mean, I never thought about it that way before.
It's a different way to approach it.
Yeah, like really engaging with what you're reading.
Absolutely.
This part of... it kind of made me think,
Oh, yeah?
it gave this example of reading a fairy tale.
Oh, okay.
Instead of just accepting the story as it is, you ask your kid, do you think it's fair that Cinderella had to do all the chores?
That's a good word.
It kind of gets them thinking about, power dynamics and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Even in these simple stories, you can find these really deep themes.
Exactly. And that
Yeah.
kind of ties into the next point that G-Sound code makes, which is experiential learning.
Yes. Hands-on learning.
Hands-on learning, yeah.
So important.
So it's not just about reading about stuff. It's about actually doing stuff.
Exactly.
Like getting your hands dirty.
Getandawad actually goes beyond, typical science experiments.
Oh, really?
Like they suggest, for example, building a model city to understand urban planning.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, get the kids involved,
Yeah.
make it fun.
So it's about moving from theory to practice.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Like knowledge becomes wisdom through actually experiencing it.
I love that.
I love that. It's full of these really hands-on ideas.
It is. And this hands-on approach, it can really spark curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
which is, what Cortana Kringleton positions as the driving force for critical thinking.
Okay.
They encourage parents to create environments where kids feel safe to ask questions. And explore their own interests.
It's like that saying, right? Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day.
Hmm.
Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime.
I love that.
It's kind of like, cultivating that curiosity. It's like teaching them how to fish in this sea of knowledge so
Absolutely.
they can always feed themselves.
Yeah, great.
That's pretty awesome. And, as they're out there exploring,
Yeah.
they're inevitably going to run into, different viewpoints, to different perspectives.
Of course, the world is full of different perspectives.
And Kata J's really stresses the importance of not just tolerating, but like truly understanding and respecting those different perspectives.
It's crucial.
But isn't that kind of like, if you just expose kids to different views, won't they naturally kind of learn to think critically about them?
Well, that's where Hedazakon gets really insightful.
Okay.
They argue that true understanding comes from engaging with those differences.
Oh, okay. So it's not enough to just like, see it from afar.
Right.
You got to actually get in there.
Yeah, one of the suggestions they give is taking kids to a multicultural event.
Oh, cool.
Not just as observers, but to talk to people, try new foods, ask questions about what the celebration means to them.
Okay. So it's about going beyond passive exposure.
Yeah.
And actively seeking out diverse perspectives.
Yes.
That's really interesting. And I think that kind of leads into, we have all these different opinions floating around.
Yeah.
You kind of need some tools to navigate them, right?
Absolutely. And Han Kong offers this really practical problem-solving framework.
Okay.
Which is something we can all use.
Oh, yeah.
So first step, clearly define the problem.
Yeah.
Then brainstorm solutions without judgment.
Without judgment, that's
Very important, yeah. And then next, evaluate those solutions.
Okay.
Consider the pros and cons of each.
Gotcha.
And then finally, choose the best solution and create an action plan.
Sounds like steps that even, we as adults could use sometimes
Oh, absolutely.
when we're faced with a problem.
It's a great framework for anyone.
Yeah, for sure. But how do we, teach this framework to kids, in a way that they'll understand?
Well, Damaton suggests using everyday situations as opportunities.
Oh.
So, for example, if your child is struggling with a school project, you can guide them through this framework.
Okay.
Ask questions like, what's making this project difficult? What are some possible ways to make it easier?
Right.
Which solution seems best and why?
So it's not just about giving them the answer. It's about teaching them how to find it themselves.
Exactly. Empowering them to solve their own problems.
That's awesome. And speaking of teaching, Entertunde Kunam God doesn't let us off the hook as parents does it.
Oh.
It's not just about telling our kids to do these things.
Right.
We actually have to,
It emphasizes leading by example.
lead by example, yeah.
Children are constantly observing us.
Yeah, they are.
And they learn far more from what we do than what we say.
That's so true. It's like, all the time, you're like, don't do that.
Right. And then you do it yourself.
And then you do it yourself, and it's like, oh, shoot.
Exactly.
Okay, so we need to model those critical thinking skills ourselves.
Absolutely.
Show them how we approach problems, how we weigh different viewpoints, and even how we admit when we're wrong.
That's a big one.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly.
And ultimately, the most valuable gift we can give our children is this ability to think for themselves.
To question the world.
To question the world around them.
And form their own opinion.
And to form their own informed opinions.
It's not just about creating little critical thinkers. It's about empowering them to actually shape their own futures.
Exactly.
And maybe one that Gescata Hago can be like a guidebook for us on that journey.
I think so. Yeah, it's definitely a valuable resource.
Well, this deep dive has given me a lot to think about. And, I encourage all of you listening to check out Gonna Misheed Yourself.
Yes, do it.
Who knows? You might even find yourself becoming a more critical thinker along the way.
That's the beauty of it. It's a lifelong journey.
It is a lifelong journey.
And, it starts with self-awareness and empathy.
Yeah.
Then you move into that active engagement with information through reading, hands-on experiences.
Love it.
And all of this happens within an environment that welcomes curiosity, diverse perspectives.
Yeah.
And, of course, problem solving.
Well connected.
It is.
Well, on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive.
Right.
So until next time, keep those questions coming.
Keep thinking critically.
And those young minds exploring.
Absolutely.
We'll see you all next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.